let's solve a trigonometric equation with a half angle and a radical. Man, things just get better and better. We're going to solve 2 cosine of x over 2 minus radical 2 equals 0. All right, so first, before we do anything else, the cosine of x, we generally think of on the interval from 0 to 2 pi. But we are dealing with a half angle, right? So we are dividing by 2. So we're going to divide everything by 2. So when we're playing with this, we're really only looking from 0 to pi. We're going to keep that in mind here. Now, if I go to solve my equation, so I've got 2 cosine x over 2 minus radical 2 equals 0. We need to isolate our trig function. So I'm first going to add radical 2 to both sides. And then I'm going to divide by 2. So the cosine of our angle is radical 2 over 2. Now let's think about this. Where is cosine positive? There's our first thought, because we have the cosine angle. Cosine is positive in quadrants 1 and in quadrants 4. However, remember, we are only dealing from 0 to pi, so we are only playing in quadrant 1 for this particular piece because it's a half angle. Okay, so where in quadrant 1 is the cosine radical 2 over 2? Well, radical 2 over 2 means that our angle would be pi over 4 in quadrant 1. But remember, we are not just playing with our angle, we are playing with a half angle. So x over 2 equals pi over 4. If I multiply both sides by 2, I end up with an angle of pi over 2. So our question here, x equals pi over 2, that satisfies our equation here on the interval from 0 to 2 pi, dealing with our half angle. Now, the second part of this is all solutions. Okay, so generally for all solutions, if we are at pi over 4, right here is pi over 4, generally for a normal angle, because remember we switched this, but a normal angle we would just add 2 pi. However, we are not playing with anything normal here, right? We know our answer is x equals pi over 2, and we are dealing with half angle. So period of cosine, normal cosine, is 2 pi. Well, half angle means we divide by half. And 2 pi divided by 1/2 is the same as 2 pi times 2, which is 4 pi. So here is the period of cosine half angle. That means we are going to take our answer of pi over 2, and we are going to add 4 pi n, where n is any integer, and that gives us our answer for all solutions. Because if we just keep adding 4 pi, we're going to get back to where we need to be for the solution of this equation, playing with our half angles. Okay. Now, one other thing to think about that we need to go a little bit further. Initially in this question, we were only playing when we are on our interval from 0 to 2 pi, because it's a half angle, we played from 0 to pi, which is how we got pi over 2. When we switch to all solutions, so our second part, yes, pi over 2 plus 4 pi n is part of that. But when we go to all solutions, we open it up to everything, which means we also need to play in Q4. So for all solutions, this is not for pi over 2, this is the second part. For all solutions, we say, okay, we also, cosine is radical 2 over 2 at 7 pi over 4, because that is in quadrant 4. Again, this is for all solutions. But don't forget, we are playing with a half angle, and so we still need to do the multiply by 2, and we end up with 7 pi over 2. So for all solutions, we would also have 7 pi over 2 plus 4 pi n. So just to clarify and put this all together, on the interval of 0 to 2 pi, our solution is x equals pi over 2. For all solutions, we have x equals pi over 2 plus 4 pi n, and x equals 7 pi over 2 plus 4 pi n. Keep that in mind. Things are different. So just always remember, what am I trying to find? What does that include? And go from there.